Hi guys, today we're talking about exercise and how do you know if your exercise program is working. It might sound like a simple question, but a lot of people don't even spend the time to do any type of data tracking or monitoring at the start of their program. So they don't actually know if it's working, and most of the time it is working. But because they get frustrated by not knowing if it's working, they make too many changes and then don't get any more benefits. So most people know that when you start exercise, start training, there's an initial burst when your body starts to go, what the hell's going on? And there's some initial change. I often make a joke and say, look, you can go on the Mars bar diet and eat 100 Mars bars a day and you'll probably end up losing weight for the first few days, but it's probably from diarrhea, but that's another problem. So when people start exercising, what they should do is find a way of tracking what their starting point is, what I call the flag in the sand. Establish where are you beginning, and then you'll know where you're going to. There's a few different ways you can do this. Now, the easiest way to do it nowadays is just by using a mobile phone. And you've probably seen on people's Instagrams and other people's YouTube channels, you see these before and after pictures. It's always the hardest thing to get someone to do the before picture because that's when they feel their worst. But it's also a good starting point because you can always look back at it and think, God, I was there and that's when I felt bad and I didn't do this right. And now how good I feel. They're more proud at the end. So what would I class as a good picture? So at the starting point, I like to take a picture of the head, neck and shoulders. Because we know in the first 2 weeks of exercise, or around 2 weeks, most people start to see massive changes around here, around their cheeks, around their chin, because that's non-essential fat. And this is where it starts to go from right at the beginning. So you might start to see the cheeks start to dip in. Now, because you're looking at yourself and your reflection sometimes hundreds of times a day, whether it's just be going past a mirror, walking past a car and seeing your reflection, you won't notice the change. So even if you do this once a week on the same day at the same time, this will be better. And for women, I'd say get your hair back, tie it back, or if you felt like me with bald hair, it's fine, it's not a problem. So somewhere where you can see the outline of the jaw and you can see the line of the neck would be the best thing. Try not to smile as well, because when we smile, these muscles start to pull our cheeks out of the way and we don't get really a fair picture. So the head, neck and shoulders is a good starting point. Next thing is obviously full body shot. Now, ideally, you want to be wearing as little as possible. Some people don't like that, but what I would say is if you're doing this for yourself, there's only you that's going to see this. And then when it comes to a point where if you do want to post it on your own social media and show everybody all the great changes you've made, that's a good thing to do, but you can always draw lines and put pictures and cover things up. That's fine as well. So I would say a full length picture at the start is good. If you can get someone else to do it, great. If not, it's not the end of the world, but a full frontal, whole body shot, get the whole of it in, head, neck, shoulders, feet and arms, the whole thing. And if you can have your arms by your side, that would be even better. A side profile as well, so just flip yourself to the side so we can see the shape in the back. We can see if your posture's improved, if the shoulders are pulled back, if you're more upright, if you're holding your head in a different position. These are all changes biomechanically you'll make by using more exercise and doing weights and resistance work. Okay, the shape of the body as well. If the glutes or your bum started to lift, can you see slenderness in the legs? These are all things you're looking for when you observe it. Then the back shot. Obviously looking at the back, we can see definition in the shoulders, the back. We can see where the fat builds up as well. If somebody's got a high sensitivity to carbohydrates, if they've got a lot of sugar, and you can find a lot of fat around the hips, around the side, this is a good point to see as well. If you're a female wearing underwear as well, or if you're a guy wearing shorts, hopefully you are, and it's not a full naked one. If it is, don't send it to me. Then if you're taking these pictures, try and wear the same thing. So if you're wearing, your Nike or your Under Armour sports bra, wear that every time. If you're wearing your swimming trunks, wear that every time. So it's consistency. Okay, where you stand is important as well. Try not to be in a background like I am now, with lots of things in the background that can see, different lines. You're trying to get as neutral as you can. If you can get a plain background, that would be even better. If you can get good lighting in there, even better as well, because we're not seeing shadows now. We can just see a really good picture. So find somewhere you can take it. For some people, it's the back of the bedroom door because it's normally plain coloured. That would be fine. If you've got a partner that can take a picture of you, great. If not, go and find a partner. Go and get someone to do it. If you are a bit more sensitive to that, then you're going to be in the mirror bouncing your reflection. It's not a problem, okay? Because it's you that's going to look at it. Keep those photos. If you can do them every 1 or 2 weeks, that's great. What I would say is if you're doing it too often, then you're going to start to not notice the bigger changes. So I'd probably keep them spaced out. Okay. Now, as I said, that's one of the easiest ways. It's quick, it's free, it's cheap. Most people have got a camera phone. Other ways you could look at is circumference measurements. Okay. The problem with circumference measurements is some go up and some come down. To give you an example, if I'm taking a circumference measurement around the chest on week 1, give you a weights program for 6 or 8 weeks, you do it again, that number will probably have increased. So if you're looking at that, you're going to be thinking, geez, is it working? It's probably I'm going backwards. But it's not that. It's that what most people do is when they start doing exercise is their posture improves. Shoulders come back, chest comes up, they get more definition in the side of the body. So that might make the number go up because your posture's improved. So I'd see that as a positive thing. The other problems is when you try and do your own tape measurements, you get sloping. When people don't get them in the exact right position, okay? It's consistency and practice, this is. So you need to try and make sure you get them in the same position every time, okay? So if you're doing measurements with a tape measure, they will work, but only if you do them all the time. It's practice, okay? So you can do that at home as well. Simple measurements around the chest, around the biggest part of your waist and stomach, around the biggest part of your hips, around your thighs. Just go with the bigger areas to start with. The arms, things like that, that would be more specific if it was people come in that wanted to get either bigger arms or leaner arms, even if you want that as well. So you could add that in there, but what I would say is to start with, probably just get used to doing it. Okay, so back to the title of the discussion and why people don't think that their programs are improving, they don't know, is because, like I said, just to summarize, they've not done a test to start with. And I've just given you two really simple ways you could do that for yourself now. And why not do it? Why not start tomorrow? Okay, doing as many push-ups as you can or how many squats you can in a minute, I don't see as effective. Okay, and the reason why I don't is if it's Monday morning and I say to you do as many squats as you can, okay, you'll do a certain number. If it's Friday and you're going out with your friends at the weekend, I say do as many squats as you can. You've just finished work for the next 2 days or a long weekend, you'll do more. And it's because it's emotionally driven. Okay, if you're happier, you're in a better place, you'll do it. Most people on a Monday morning aren't in that happy place. They're like, I've got the whole week ahead. So I'd probably say that exercise-related tests like that, how many you can do in a minute, are very basic and they're not very consistent either. Yes, if you're doing a home workout and someone on the TV is going, yeah, let's do as many press-ups as we can, that's one way, but you know, what does that matter to you? Because that's about muscular endurance as well, how many you can do, and what we're looking at is body shape change. So we're not really testing it the right way. If you've got access to equipment at your gym and you can work and you can do fitness-related tests on them, that's another good way of doing it. But really the moral of the story is if you don't have a starting point, and you don't test it, you won't know if your program's working. If you're not writing down how many sets and reps you're doing, you won't know if your program's working. So this is all down to, are you measuring? Because if you're not measuring something, you can't tell somebody or you can't see if you're improving or not. And that's people's biggest downfall in the gym, in the fitness industry. You see them walking around the gym, they've not got a pen and a paper, and that's the basic thing. You know, they're not doing anything, they're just doing as many as they can, and they're resting in between sets, and they go again just when they feel like going again. I really hate it when I see a program that says rest for 60 to 90 seconds. But that's a huge difference. If I rest for 60 seconds, rest for 90 seconds, that's a completely different weight I can lift on whatever exercise it might be. It needs to be specific. If it says 45 seconds, time 45 seconds. It's consistency at the end of the day, and hopefully that's the message I'm putting across. So you won't know if you're improving if you don't establish a starting point and then regularly retest consistently.